Thanks to Red Cloud for hosting. It's nice to come to a well-attended conference after a couple years off. Again, I'm Marty Rendall, CFO. I've been at Victoria Gold for about 15 years. So certainly seen lots of ups and downs going from an early stage explorer to a gold producer. It's a little bit tough following David Rosenberg. That was a great keynote we just went through. It's funny how when he's talking, we all kind of pull away what we want and hear what we want. I certainly did hear him say that gold's going to be a great year in 2023. So I'm going to give you one option to play the gold space here in Victoria Gold. Just a quick summary, and we'll get into the details. We are looking for significant year-over-year production growth into 2023 and 2024, and I'll let you know some of the details behind that. We do have a long life mine. We had our feasibility study about 3 years ago in 2019. It showed 10.5-year mine life. We will be putting out a technical report for the Eagle mine in Q1 2023, and we're looking to replace a significant portion of the ounces that we've mined over the last 3 years. So we'll keep that nice long mine life. We've positive earnings through 3 quarters this year, great cash flow last year and into this year. We do have district scale potential. I'll talk a little bit about our Raven discovery, which is fairly fresh and could take the Eagle long life gold mine and add on to it both in quantity and years. And delivering positive ESG results. We think we've been doing a great job on ESG for the last decade. Where we need to pull up our socks a little bit is on bragging about our ESG a little more and reporting it, and so we are starting to do that now. Again, we're in Yukon, pretty much smack dab in the middle of the Yukon. It is the Great White North, but we actually do enjoy very good infrastructure. It is year-round road access. There's a very good road into site all year. We are on grid power, which helps us keep our costs down. There is an airport about 80 kilometers away in the town of Mayo, so we do fly our employees in from Western Canada and or Whitehorse right to Mayo and then drive them into site. It is a 2-week in, 2-week out mine site. You can drive from Whitehorse, it's about 6 hours, but very good infrastructure. Here's a picture of the mine. It is a fairly tight footprint for what is a fairly large mine. It's about 5-6 kilometers from side to side there, and you can see the open pit on the right and the heap leach facility on the left. Again, you're talking to the CFO here, so the operating guys get a little perturbed when I tell them all you're really doing is digging a big hole and building a big pile. But there's a little more to it, and I got a video here that will save me some speaking time.
Victoria Gold's Eagle Gold Mine, located in central Yukon, Canada, produces gold doré bars from a conventional open-pit heap leach mine. The process includes blasting in the open pit, loading and hauling the ore for 3-stage crushing, conveying the crushed ore overland to the in-valley heap leach facility, heap leaching, recovering the gold in the gold recovery plant, where the gold is then heated and poured into doré bars, which are sold to a refinery and shipped off-site. The current life of mine is 11 years, but with the ore body extending at depth and regional exploration, management is confident the mine will run plus 20 years and produce over 6 million ounces of gold. The Eagle open pit is situated on a hillside and when completed will measure greater than 2,000 meters long, 1,000 meters wide, and 800 meters deep. In the open pit, rock is blasted and then loaded into haul trucks. Gold-bearing ore is hauled to the primary crusher. Non-gold-bearing material is hauled to a waste rock storage area. The Eagle Gold Mine fleet includes 2 Cat 6040 shovels and 11 Cat 785D haul trucks. Each shovel bucket can hold 40 tons of material, and each haul truck can hold over 3 scoops or 150 tons. The haul trucks travel at approximately 20 kilometers per hour from the pit to the primary crusher and unload into the dump pocket of the crusher. The primary crusher is a gyratory crusher that crushes the ore boulders to approximately 12 centimeters in size, about the size of a grapefruit. From the primary crusher, the crushed ore is conveyed to the secondary and tertiary crushers. The secondary and tertiary crushers further crush the ore to a target size of 10 millimeters, about the size of a grapefruit seed. The crushed ore travels on a covered overland conveyor approximately 1.5 kilometers to the heap leach facility. The heap leach facility is located in a valley that has a protective double liner installed. Crushed gold-bearing ore is stacked onto the lined heap leach facility via a series of mobile conveyors that stack the ore in 12-meter lifts or layers. 1 million tons of ore will be processed each month. A network of drip emitter tubing is installed on each layer. The tubing delivers a weak cyanide solution, which percolates down through the ore, dissolving the gold. During the freezing months, the tubes are buried 1 meter below surface. The gold-laden or pregnant solution is then pumped from the heap leach facility to the gold recovery plant. In the gold recovery plant, the gold is extracted from the solution and the resulting barren solution is recycled and used on the heap leach. The gold is heated to over 1,000 degrees Celsius in the smelter and poured into gold doré bars, weighing approximately 1,000 ounces. The doré bars produced at the Eagle Gold Mine contain gold and some silver. The doré bars are shipped to the Canadian Mint for final refining to 99.99% gold.
That saves me chatting through it all. But you can see from the video it is a fairly conventional heap leach operation. There's no new technology there. It's all been done before. So that helped when we were financing and building the project and now operating the project. Here's our timeline. As I said, I've been here since the beginning, even before this chart starts. But as you can see, the crux of it all is through September we had produced over 400,000 ounces of gold from the mine, but it definitely takes a while to get there. Historic production, you can see it by quarter here. One thing to note is we do have some cyclicality with the weather. We do stack less tonnage on the heap leach pad in the winter, and that's mainly because we go down for a month or 1 to 2 months in the winter. This is an upside for us. We think if we can reduce our 2-month maintenance down in the winter to 1 month, that's a pretty low-hanging fruit growth potential for us. But you can see the last quarters we're producing 50-ish thousand ounces in Q3, Q4, while we're producing 30-ish thousand ounces in Q1, Q2. And we think we have a nice opportunity to increase that in 2023. When we look at, we'll start going through the process that you just saw in the video. If we start at the mine, we are mining to plan. We do have a very low strip ratio. You'll have noticed that our deposit is on the side of the hill, so that's what helps to keep the strip ratio low. We've got a Caterpillar fleet. It's working very well, and the mine reconciliation is excellent. If we look at our crushing and stacking, this has really been our largest challenge. And we're operating at about 70 to 80% availability, and we're looking to get that up to 85 to 90% availability. So that's really where we're looking to grow production year over year, and I think I'll get into this a little more later. And if we go to the other end, we've got our gold recovery plant where we pour the gold. Again, it's operating excellent. The heap leach pad is operating excellent. Recoveries are as expected. So both ends of the mine, the grade reconciliation, recovery reconciliation are excellent. We've got some work to do on the middle part, which is the crushing and conveying. I've touched on these already. Again, grade reconciliation is great. If you're going to tick a couple boxes, you want to tick the boxes on grade reconciliation and recovery reconciliation. If I go back a few years and look at our risk register before we built the mine, number one was recovery. Are we going to get the recoveries we want? Number two was grade, and both of those are working really well. And this is, we're on a pace of 150 to 160,000 ounces a year. That's the pace we've been working on for the last 18 months. To get it up to 200,000 ounces, which has always been our goal and continues to be our goal, we need to focus on the crushing conveying system. Again, we're operating 70 to 75% availability, and we'd like to get to 85 to 90. We don't have to spend a bunch of money to do this. We need to focus on operational excellence. It is a big job, but certainly it's people and it's mechanical availability. So we think this is very doable. I would say our largest challenge in doing this is definitely people. You've probably heard that once or twice today or over the last year, that there is a fight. I would even call it a war for labor. We're finding our employees are job jumping. We have high turnover. We've got a plan to alleviate that, and we're already starting to see some fruits from that plan. And we do think the market will turn over, especially if some of the stuff David Rosenberg mentioned earlier comes around. I think it's going to turn from an employee market to an employer market over the year. But we are having trouble finding people, and that is causing our availability to suffer. We do have some small design improvements we'll make. We're going to increase our training to get that operational excellence up. Again, reduce turnover. And we've already increased our spares and parts inventory to try to battle some of the supply chain issues we've all heard about. So that's to get us to 200,000. And this is what we're going to be focused on in 2023. If we look longer term, going beyond 200,000 could happen in late 23 to 2024. And really there's two methods to doing that. One is to add a screens fining plant and scalping off the screen so it doesn't go through our crushing conveying circuit, and that should allow us to put more on the pad on a daily basis. And the other one is to add a semi-mobile crusher, which again allows us to put more tons to the pad every day, and we'd use a semi-mobile crusher when our primary crusher is being maintained. There would be capital required for those ones, but we'll talk more about that once we get to 200,000. Just have a couple minutes left here, but we do have lots of expansion on the Dublin Gulch property at both Eagle and Satellite deposits. Again, we'll put out an Eagle updated resource, and we expect to see significantly more ounces go on the books in a reserve category in Q1 next year. Again, replacing a good chunk of what we've mined to date. And that's at depth, and it is to the west. So again, it's not necessarily going to lead to a higher strip ratio or higher cost because it's at the toe of the mine. And again, you can see the drilling we did down the hill at the toe of the mine where we'll be adding ounces. This slide just shows that it is a district. There's a lot of ounces around us. We've got Eagle, we'll talk about Raven, those are both Victoria Gold. We're invested in Ormac, which has 3.9 million ounces. That's a property run by a junior called Banyan. So lots of gold in the area. Lots of regional exploration. You can see we do hold a fairly large property. Eagle is just a small postage stamp in the middle, the star you see there. And Raven is the last thing I really want to touch on. We added a maiden resource just a couple months ago. It's at a grade that's twice as much as Eagle. Keep in mind that we're making good money at Eagle at 0.8 grams. Raven is at 1.7 grams. We've only got 1 million ounces so far on 18,000 meters of drilling, but we have, since this resource went out, put in another 25,000 meters of drilling, so we hope to increase this resource very quickly at Raven. And again, H1 next year will probably increase that resource again, but it is early stages at Raven, lots of work to do. And this just shows that Raven has lots of growth to it. Uses of free cash flow. You're talking to the CFO, so I'm going to tell you we're focused on debt repayment, and we'll be focused on debt repayment for the next year or two. There's a little bit of information on the debt. I won't get into it. Feel free to look at our financial statements or MD&A. A little bit of information on our shareholders. You can see we've got a great register of a lot of the names you'll know, from Sprott to Van Eck to CI, fidelity. We've really turned over our shareholder base, obviously, once we got into production. We do have good analyst coverage. They all have buys on us at the current moment. There's some pretty pictures of the management and the board. Some of these individuals you will know and have seen. Certainly lots of experience in gold and mining, and specifically in Canada's north. ESG, unfortunately, my time's running out, so I won't get into it too much. But we do have a great safety record. We haven't had an LTI in 5 million hours, actually 5 million hours total with only 3, but we haven't had one in a couple million hours, so that's impressive. We are well invested in the community, and we do consider them partners with the Nacho Dun, who's the First Nations community. And we do try to hire Yukoners as much as we can, and we've been very successful there with 40% of our workforce coming from the Yukon. And I think that'll wrap it up.